Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. For those that don't know me, I'm Bradley Zastro, the head of business development here at DashCore. One of the updates that we provided in our last quarterly call was how the organization viewed growth and where we will focus. We're here today to continue that conversation and take you through business development plans in a little more detail. Next slide, please. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. We are recording this call and we'll be sharing it live we'll be sharing it later on our YouTube channel. Audience microphones are muted, and we'll also be posting this presentation as well as a Spanish version later on in the Dash forum. I'll be kicking off this presentation, but I'll later be handing it over to my team as well to take you through the details as we get into each area of focus. So with that, let's get started. Next slide, please. Many of you would have seen this slide already, but before we start to take you through the detail, it's worth touching base again on the story from the very beginning. We are solving a specific problem with payments because we want to improve financial freedom. Everyone deserves secure, cheap, and fast payments, which we will provide through giving people a better way to pay and get paid. Naturally, Dash is the obvious solution to achieve this. Next slide, please. So if our goal is to give people a better way to pay and get paid, we need to set priorities because we know we can't focus on everyone, everywhere, all at once. As a result, we think about growth in specific ways. Payments are the combination of a currency plus a payment method, and the best opportunities are where we see the greatest fit and the greatest need. Consequently, we've identified the place that we feel has the greatest need, which is Venezuela, with the problem of hyperinflation. Where we saw the greatest fit was within the US cannabis industry, with the problem presented by being cash only, international remittances, specifically the Mexico-US corridor, the gambling industry and the cost of high chargebacks, and the crypto trading industry, which also experiences the pains of payments taking too long and costing too much. Next slide, please. So we'll focus in these areas, and these were evaluated both on the basis of the opportunity as well as the synergies that existed which we could leverage. Venezuela is a good example of this. While many markets experience hyperinflation, the network and community have both made substantial investments on the ground. Therefore, it makes sense to leverage those efforts. We'll go ahead and revisit these components as we take you through each of these opportunities in more detail. Next slide, please. But before we get to that, I wanted to take you through the business development organization and how we're organized as a business unit, as we have a unique value proposition. Next slide, please. Business development is a service, not a sales organization. Just as Dash makes payments easier, business development makes it easier for businesses to work with cryptocurrency. The problem is that many networks today are passive, and as a result, they present a certain problem for businesses looking to integrate. There are challenges around funding, which are often ICO or crowdsourced donation funded. There's a problem with consensus. Most networks lack an efficient means to drive consensus, which leads to uncertainty in network direction. And they don't have a consistent point of contact with whom businesses can work. Dash as a network already provides a substantial benefit for those businesses. We are an active network who is focused on growth, and we specifically address these three pain points in unique ways. The challenge of funding is solved through our monthly budget and proposal process. We drive consensus at the network level consistently with the proven voting method. And from a partnership point of view, proposals can be made directly to the network without any intermediary. It's worth repeating, as an active network, Dash already holds a significant competitive advantage over passive ones. Business development now takes this advantage one step further. We provide a value add through the relationships we build and the pain points we further ease. We have our own funding to directly fund smaller integrations. We can drive consensus immediately, and the partnerships we build are direct relationships focused on growth and extend well beyond the initial time frame of integration. We do this through three main ways in which we will work. Find new opportunities. We will hunt for new partners, work with the community to help us identify and target those new partners, and we will have a stronger focus on the prioritization for inbound opportunities. Develop long-term relationships, which drives growth back to our partners and helps them create meaningful connections with the community. This is a requirement as well to build the business management solutions you saw with the recent crypto mobile launch. Finally, we will create new capabilities. This is where we will consult with our partners on integrations, working with them to understand their businesses and their needs. Additionally, building out a laboratory to further advance our partnerships through a variety of creative ways. And then by bringing these three pillars together, We will be able to do what no other network can do: bring our partners together to create a larger opportunity and in a creative way that they would not normally work. This will help set us apart in the marketplace, and as mentioned, the recent crypto mobile launch was our first example of this business management solution. It's a new way in which we want to work with partners, but again, only if we are successful in the hunting of new opportunities, developing relationships, and creating capabilities. Next slide, please. How we will execute the vision first starts with our organization strategy. Then we lay out our plans and finally align with marketing to execute. As mentioned, we communicated our strategy back in our quarterly call on the 10th of August. This was phase 1. Today, we're here in phase 2, which is the business development strategy and our plans for achieving our goals. And the third phase that will be upcoming is the marketing strategy and our alignment to help execute. How we will work with marketing is based around close alignment to the joint vision and working closely together to develop these integrated plans for execution and support for their campaigns. Through targeted activities, we will drive transactions through our partners and support new tools and ways to use Dash through educational materials and building awareness. Next slide, please. So the final piece of who are we? We'll meet your DCG business development team. We have Omar Hamwi, who leads our US-Canada region, Ernesto Contreras, who leads our Latin America region, and John Kindle, who leads our capabilities team. John also has a dotted line into our CTO, Bob Carroll, and this is just to ensure that he also stays and remains connected with the development side of the organization. Additionally, we look to hire a country manager for Venezuela once that budget allows. So with that, the team is now going to take you through the detail of our plans for each of those pillars, with John leading us off first to take us through the capabilities team. So over to you, John.
Good afternoon. My name is John Kindle. I'm the global manager of the capabilities team, and today I'm going to talk with you about our approach for fostering the adoption of Dash through consultative integrations as well as real-world applications of our technology. The capabilities team is all about tailoring our solutions for the best possible fit. By building a relationship with our integrating partners, we're able to better understand their existing systems. Our goal throughout this process is to provide a simple and easy way to proceed with integration while also cultivating a longer-term relationship with them. We also realize that there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of bringing blockchain technology to the masses. The Capabilities Laboratory is intended to support and enable this process through analysis, education, and the development of tools which will support our ability to be easily integrated with new partners. From a strategic standpoint, it's important for us to understand our own network. Now and moving forward, we're building tools that will allow us to evaluate such things as transaction fees, transaction volume, as well as capture objects stored on the network, such as budget proposals. As we move towards Dash evolution, similar tools will be required in order to help us understand network behaviors in the context of users and merchants. This will allow us to observe not only the number of new users that are being onboarded to the network, but to also measure the types of interactions that are taking place between users and merchants. Following that, we'll also need to educate the general public about Dash. In the context of conferences, this involves demonstrations and other tools that help to make the Dash network a little bit more tangible to the average person who is visiting our booth. When working with partners, this relates more so to explaining specific functionalities such as instant send or evolution in the context of their own platforms. Along those same lines, the Capabilities Lab is also interested in engineering solutions that make the integration of Dash as well as the application of features such as instant send more effective. Extending open source platforms and software development kits to support Dash and instant send will be a focus of ours as we continue to lay the groundwork for easy and straightforward implementation of Dash as well as Dash specific features. Alongside this, we'll continue to build tools which enable the business development team to explore new opportunities. An example of this is the paper wallet generating tool that was a part of a recent promotion. This This tool not only allows us to create paper wallets en masse, but also allows for usage metrics to be captured and for unredeemed wallets to be reclaimed for future promotions. Ultimately, our purpose is to guide our partners towards the successful implementation of Dash through documentation as well as support. We want to enable our partners to better understand our technology and assist them in implementing it by providing a human face and contact point for the network. It's our belief that this support system will be a critical aspect driving continued adoption and growth for the Dash network today, as well as Dash evolution looking a little bit further into the future. With this, with this approach in mind, I'll now pass the presentation over to Omar, who will be discussing our plans for cannabis as well as the gambling industries.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. My name is Omar Hamwi, and I'm the Business Development Regional Manager for the US and Canada. Thank you all for joining us today. Within the US and Canada, we've identified 2 industries where Dash can solve existing issues and grow Dash adoption. Next slide, please. The first of which is the cannabis industry. As you recall from the Q2 presentation, the cannabis industry in the US is cash-based, which has many issues associated with doing business in only cash. For example, high operational costs and inefficiencies, security issues, as well as difficulties meeting compliance. Next slide. Our goal is therefore to integrate Dash across the cannabis industry as a cheap, quick, and digital alternative form of payment to cash to remove the industry's reliance on cash. We'll do this by building around our partnership with Alt36, focusing initially on B2B businesses in legalized cannabis markets. Alt36's multi-tool platform is well known to be amongst the best in the industry, if not the best. They are also close exclusive partners to Dash. We'll therefore focus on further building that relationship and supporting Alt36. Ultimately, as Alt36 expands its integrations across the cannabis industry, Dash does as well. We'll be focusing on both businesses and individuals. For what we'll be doing for business, first we'll be building out Alt36's platform, and we'll be doing this by finding and referring business management solutions such as payroll, physical POS systems, tax tools, etc., to Alt36 to be integrated into their platform. These businesses are important to bring into the ecosystem as cannabis businesses and consumers will be switching to a whole new form of payment. There are also a variety of needs that a business must address to ultimately function. We'll be working with Alt36 to build out their platform to ensure that their business users have the solutions they need to not only fully integrate Dash as a form of payment, but also to make sure their business needs are met. Another area we'll be working with Alt36 is on building their network. To do this, we'll jointly identify prospective business users in the cannabis industry and bring them onto the Alt36 platform. Alt36 has strong subject matter expertise of the specific needs of cannabis businesses, and we'll leverage our respective strengths to ensure that we bring the key businesses we've identified into the network. Additionally, if we're also approached or find new opportunities that are a good fit with Alt36, we'll refer them to Alt36 so that we can jointly grow the network. For individuals, excuse me, we'll be focusing on 2 areas. The first is to build the infrastructure for consumers to easily access Dash for cannabis purchases. And to do this, we'll work with Alt36 and our ATM operator partners to place ATMs near or inside dispensaries. Additionally, business development will generally be continuously adding fiat on and off ramps, such as ATM operators and manufacturers, and working to ensure instant send is enabled with all existing and future fiat on and off ramps. Finally, after we've gained traction in Dash usage with consumers, dispensaries, and B2B businesses, we see an opportunity to expand our network to additional businesses that produce or sell cannabis-related goods. This would be, for example, a smoke shop or where you could buy cannabis-linked goods such as consumption devices. What we'll do here is integrate with secondary consumer goods businesses that are linked to the cannabis industry and bring them into the network. The opportunity that we see is for individuals who are already buying their cannabis products in Dash, they can now use Dash to buy other related goods. We believe this will reinforce the value proposition in Dash among cannabis users and increase the stickiness of those users so that they continue to use Dash. For both businesses and individuals, there's a major awareness building component, which Alt36 and the Dash business development team will work closely together with the Dash marketing department to implement. With that, we believe that we'll grow Dash across the cannabis industry and help resolve many of the issues that currently affect this industry. In addition to cannabis, we've identified another industry where we believe Dash can have a major impact, and that's in the gambling industry. Next slide, please. As mentioned in the Q2 call again, the gambling industry does have a high ratio of chargebacks, which leads gambling businesses to charge higher fees and incur increased costs. These costs are often passed down to the consumer by the business, of course. Next slide. Integrating Dash and Instant Send with gambling businesses directly removes the issue of high chargebacks altogether, as Dash payments are irreversible. Our goal is therefore to integrate Dash across the gambling industry to lower chargebacks and costs. Our strategy is to make it easy for gambling businesses to accept and work with Dash and convert existing users to gambling with Dash. And to make it easier for businesses to accept Dash, we'll first build the infrastructure out. And our first focus will be to integrate with payment processors that service the gambling industry in order to remove the inconvenience of changing payment processors. First, we'll target cryptocurrency payment processors like those used by Bitcoin gambling sites, as integrating Dash here is usually quicker and easier than integrating with fiat payment processors. We'll then target fiat-based payment processors for integration. We know that gambling is a heavily regulated industry and has certain requirements such as compliance and other business needs. Therefore, to make it easy to work with Dash, we'll build our platform of business management solutions to address these various needs and thus increasing our value proposition as well. To do this, we'll identify and partner with business management solutions that service the gambling industry and bring them into our ecosystem. On the individual side, we'll build the Dash Gambling Network to give existing users a way to gamble with Dash on their favorite platforms. And to do that, we'll first target gambling businesses already integrated with payment processors to get them to switch Dash payments on. Second, once we've sufficiently built our network of business management solutions, Dash and our partners will jointly target integrations with large legacy businesses, gambling business. And that concludes the strategy for the US and Canada. And with that, I'll hand it to my colleague Ernesto, who will walk you through the strategy for Latin America. Thank you all.
Thank you, Omar. Hello, my name is Ernesto Contreras. I'm the Business Development Manager for Latin America and Dash. And as we stated, I'll walk you through the hyperinflation and international remittance part of our strategy. Please go to the next slide. As we all know, Venezuela is one key area of our strategy. Venezuela is a place where crisis is impacting all areas of life for people living there, from not having a steady supply of water to electricity cuts, and of course, the financial activities have also been distorted. Please go to the next slide. Here, we will see on details how Dash will give Venezuelans a better way to buy the things they need for the people they love. And this will be achieved by making it easier for Venezuelans to require less cash and pay for basic goods. Dash communities have done a tremendous work in growing adoption. So by working alongside these communities, such as Dash Caracas, Dash Merchant, many of the other 17 communities that are now living there, plus the new ones that will arise, we will grow in an accelerated and strategic way. In order to do so, we'll work on fostering growth for both businesses and individuals. Our plan to grow Dash usage in more businesses is divided on two parts: building the infrastructure and building the platform. The first component of building the infrastructure is adding a wide array of fiat on and off ramps so we can make sure acquiring Dash can be easier and more available. This way, people will have different options to make their transactions. We will do this by diversifying options and expanding the current offering, thus ensuring a wider array of fiat on and off ramps ranging from exchanges, brokers, and other solutions to make it easy for people to go from fiat to Dash and vice versa. We'll continue having constant contact with the communities so we can better understand the preferences of the users and have that qualitative data as an element of analyzing the results when we see the efforts we're doing. We understand that using Dash as a means of payment is just the beginning. That's why building the platform is key to this strategy. And by making sure we bring, partner, and integrate the business management solutions needed for companies that accept Dash, we will have all the components needed to support their operations with crypto payments. This means they'll be able to carry on their accounting, tax management, and other professional services that follow accepting Dash. And that's the type of partners needed to build a platform. On the individual side, we plan to build a network and add more ways to send and receive Dash regardless of the location. Building the network for individuals means we'll add businesses that are now selling basic needs from a hierarchical perspective. Places where Venezuelans can shop for food, medicine, transportation, and more will make paying with Dash an everyday action and grow the user base. Here, we'll continue working with the communities in order to do the heavier lifting for larger scale merchants. We know those multi-location, larger merchants require bigger efforts than mom and pop shops, and that's where we'll partner with the community so Dash can meet those special technical and business needs. The final component for the individual strategy for growth relates to having more ways to send and receive Dash. Adding fiat on and off ramps in countries with large diaspora of Venezuelans will enable growing the Dash ecosystem on these countries and increase a flow of transactions once these Venezuelans abroad learn to send money on our peer-to-peer network. There's 1 million Venezuelans in Colombia, several 100,000 in Peru, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, and other countries. So allowing them to send Dash will solve an existing need with a large group of people that will be the basis for growth in many geographies. Finally, we've identified a unique niche opportunity of small businesses that are now shipping goods to Venezuela and are mostly located in the US and Colombia. Once we allow these to integrate Dash as a means of payment, we'll give Venezuelans another option to pay for goods that will then be shipped to their desired destination. And this closes the loop for using Dash as a remittance tool because users can decide to send either money or goods to the people they love. This strategy is, of course, complemented with an awareness component run by our marketing area. And we believe this strategy will accelerate growth and increase Dash usage both in Venezuela and outside as well. Let's please go to the next slide. There we'll see the final component of our Latin American strategy, the huge remittance corridor that starts in the US and goes deep into Mexico. Please pass to the next slide. Here, you'll see that we plan to help people and businesses find savings in the US-Mexico remittance corridor. And we will do that by integrating with small and medium enterprises that are money transferring businesses, as well as creating peer-to-peer remittance solutions. We know remittances will not happen automatically, and having the technology is not enough to gain adoption for this use case. Therefore, we will grow this part of the strategy by working on the business side as well as the individual side with separate efforts. Having the right liquidity solutions on both sides of the corridor is a must-have in order to allow Dash to enter this remittance play. So we will build the platform and the network by identifying what are the right partners, such as exchanges and brokers on the Mexico side of the corridor, which is an initial component for this strategy. We know this market has strict regulation and businesses operating in it must comply with their license requirements and many more needs. This is why we need to partner with firms that can provide and develop the business management solutions needed to perform AML, KYC, and other tax and other processes required in this business. And make sure that those are adapted to the usage of Dash. Once we've advanced in the liquidity plus business management solutions part of the strategy, we can build and grow the network by hunting and partnering with small and medium enterprises that are working in the money transferring business. This can benefit from the efficiencies in their processes by adding Dash. We know that over 60% of remittances are concluded by non-financial firms, and many of them are smaller firms such as family offices, where Dash can serve as a mean of lowering cost either in the origination point, international remittance part, or last mile of their remittance process. And that's what we'll do. Finally, in order to foster growth of the individuals on the peer-to-peer transaction, we'll make sure we have access points in places with high concentration of migrant communities, both in Mexico and the US. This might mean working with partners to get more ATMs in areas with high concentration of migrants, such as California, Texas, New Jersey, and more. And this also means growing the off-ramps or the cash-out options in places where migration has been originated, such as Jalisco State, northern parts of the country, or Mexico City. These cash-out places must be of easy access and usage to the receivers, and might include convenience stores or other well-known, easy-to-access locations. By implementing these steps, we'll grow usage in this 28 billion corridor and increase Dash usage and transactions. This finalizes the strategy for growth in Latin America, and I'll be looking forward to your questions. Now we can go to the next slide, where a global head of business development will discuss the digital currency trading part of this strategy.
Thank you, Ernesto. So our final pillar here today is on the problem with digital currencies for crypto trading. Next slide, please. Which also suffers from payments taking too long and costing too much. Trading is one of the biggest current uses for cryptocurrencies today, and the problem is that slow speeds increase user risk by forcing large balances to be kept on exchanges. Next slide, please. So our goal is to increase our user security and trading opportunities by targeting instant send through every stage in the life cycle of a trade. We will be focusing on both individuals and businesses, and we will build the functionality to send Dash instantly, trade Dash instantly, as well as build the platform as a way to add additional value to our exchange partners. We will focus on sending Dash instantly by targeting major crypto storage solutions like hard wallets and custodial storage with instant send integration. We will enable Dash to be traded instantly by targeting exchanges in a couple of different ways. We will first prioritize existing exchanges and at a minimum target the ability of receiving an instant send transaction. That at its core will allow our users to trade. But to get the full benefit, of course, we will also target the ability to send an instant send transaction out of an exchange. This further provides the benefit of network liquidity, which also allows users the ability to better take advantage of arbitrage opportunities as they come up. Finally, we will build the platform by increasing our value proposition to an exchange by partnering with the key service providers around the things that exchanges need. For example, compliance, tax, and other tools. And this will show exchanges why we as Dash are a more valuable partner than other coins. Next slide, please. So we've taken you through quite a bit of detail, but I wanted to close with a final few thoughts and what we saw as a few key takeaways. Next slide, please. Business development is about making it easier for businesses to work with cryptocurrency, and that the plan we shared today is phase 2 in a larger operational strategy with marketing to follow. There are 4 key takeaways that we see. 1, how we think about growth is about the greatest need, where we'll focus on hyperinflation, and the greatest fit is where we'll focus on cash, remittances, credit card chargebacks, and digital currency. These are the payment pain points on which we feel we can move the needle. 2, where we will focus will be broken out in the same way, specifically Venezuela, where hyperinflation is the greatest need, and the cannabis industry, Mexico-US remittance corridor, gambling, and crypto trading, where we see the greatest fit for their respective payment types. That together is part of phase 1. Phase 2, the business development strategy, is also about 2 items. 1, we are a service organization focused on providing a value add to both the network and our partners. This complements the competitive advantage we already have as a network compared to the passive ones. Additionally, we have 3 key components, which are getting new partners, developing relationships, and creating capabilities. Finally, our plans can be summarized in the following ways. Cannabis targets Dash integration through the industry to remove reliance on cash. Gambling with Dash eliminates chargebacks, which reduces cost. Venezuela gives people the freedom to buy the things they need for the people they love. The Mexico-US remittance corridor will help people and businesses find savings. and digital currency, which targets instant send through every stage in the life cycle of a trade. Wrapping this up together, of course, is marketing, which will help us then execute through close alignment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our plan. So while this concludes our presentation, I did want to circle back real quickly on a few next steps. Again, this call will be shared later on the Dash YouTube channel, and also the presentation will again be posted on the Dash forum with a Spanish version to follow shortly thereafter. Finally, we will be soliciting questions. We'll be waiting a few days before posting further instructions on the Dash forum. As this is new information we've just shared, for those that want to take some time, I guess, at first to digest this information, we'd like to give them that opportunity before fully opening up for Q&A. Next slide, please. So from all of us here at the Dash Core Group Business Development Team, thank you again for your time and support. We hope you have a great rest of the morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. Thank you again.